Today is the 7th of April. We've entered into April. We've just done Easter. I think we're still in the Easter mode. We're still talking about diasporan issues, and these are issues pertaining to the Black African. I'm speaking to somebody who I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would ever speak to her. One day I went to Ghana. This is about 20 years ago or so. My mother said, "Oh my girl, I found something. I found a hobby and I'm doing it with my friends. Come, wait." So we cooked, we had ice cream, we had everything ready. Her friends, she has a gang of friends. That's my mother. So her friends came around. They turned on the telly, put the DVD. That in those days it was DVD. So they put the DVD in. It was a new thing, and boom, there was an African movie. It was from Nigeria, and it showed this beautiful girl, humble, who was blind, and she fell in love with this guy. She was a potter, though. Even though she was blind, she did pottery. And the whole thing was interesting because it was so beautiful, the setting, the people, the girl. And then she felt, I'm not sure, was it Ramsey Noah? Or I can't,
yes, Ramsey.
But anyway, so we watched it. It was beautiful. And it became, I got hooked. So every time, but it was, my mother was the middleman. Every time there was Stella on, she'll buy the DVD. They'll send it to me. She'll say, "My girl is in she's in this one. Anyway, so we were both hooked on it. And I remember the day, a week after my mother died, and I was packing, we were tidying up to leave Ghana. And I saw the DVD start there, and it was an emotional. I even wrote it on Facebook about the things that my mother and I used to do together. Not knowing that one day I would meet, chat with, and even interview Stella Damasus. Now, people never ever say anything is impossible. With God, everything is possible. Today, I do not have a story to tell. Everything I'm saying is true. I have found Stella, and I am sharing her with you. I am good like that. I am sharing this woman with you. Welcome to my show, my lady.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Now, Stella, I will tell you about a little bit that I know about Stella, and she will kind of furnish everything that I know. She became a young widow with 2 daughters at the age of 26. And as a result, she helped to launch Young Widows Association of Nigeria. She fights against widowhood practices, early child marriage, female genital mutilation, rape, and domestic violence. She's an advocate for the girl child education and has pushed this agenda for over 2 decades. Now, as you know, this is a show for women, by women, to women, and the world. Therefore, I am so pleased to meet you. I am honored to have you on. This is a movie A-lister from Nigeria across the whole of the west coast of Africa. All English-speaking African countries know of her. And Kiki-stat have got her. Yes. People, I am so happy with myself today.
Thank you.
Now, Stella.
Yes.
I have so many questions to ask you, and I don't want to waste time. But before I do that, I am going to do my intro thing, which I have just discovered. So I'm going to put my intro on. 1 minute, it's in fact 30 seconds, and then we shall chat. Welcome again to my show. I am so excited that if it wasn't that I was interviewing you, I would be speechless.
Wow, thank you.
Okay. Now, can you please tell me about yourself and how you got into acting?
My name is Stella Damasus, as you know. I'm Nigerian. I'm from Asaba, Delta State. And as a child, I've always loved the creative arts. Even when I was in nursery school, primary school, I would do the school plays, I would sing, I would join the school band. But I never thought I was going to be serious with it because my father always wanted me to be a doctor. So I was doing science subjects and all that. But when I was trying to get into the university, he wanted me to do sciences. I said no. They forced me to go into law. So I did a diploma course in business and industrial law. But I knew it wasn't for me. I wanted something more. I wanted to express myself because I knew I had something. And then I did another exam that I paid for. I didn't even tell my father. I did an exam for the arts and I got into school to study theater arts. So I studied theater arts and I graduated. And my story is very weird because I didn't think I was going to be a professional actor. I was in my house one day, in my sister's house, and a friend of mine walked in and said, "Oh, I'm going for an audition. Would you come with me?" I was already working at a studio as a singer. I was doing radio jingles. And I said, "Okay, I'll come with you." I didn't even take a shower. I was wearing a big shirt, bathroom slippers. And I went to the audition with her. I sat outside and I saw a lot of people there going in and coming out. And when my friend was done, we were about to leave and someone walked out and asked me if I had gone to the audition room. And I said, "No, I didn't come to audition." And he said, "Why? Just come in and let's see you." And I went in there, I thought it was a joke. They gave me a script, I read it, and I was laughing all through because I didn't understand what they were trying to do. And I walked out of there and I told my friend I just went to have fun, but I wasn't interested in all of this. I left, went back to the studio. 3 weeks later, they come to tap me and say, "Hey, somebody's looking for you outside." I go out there, I see the producer, the director, and they're like, "You got the role." I'm like, "Me? How?" I didn't know anything about this. I only know theater. I don't know anything about movies and all that. And they offered me the kind of money that I'd never made in my life because where I was working, they were paying me 700 naira. And here are these people, that's 700 naira a month. But these people said, "Come do a movie for 5-6 days and we're going to pay you 10,000 naira." I'm like, "What?" This was in 1995. I'm like, "Are you kidding? That much money? Okay, let's do it." And I went, did it. They loved it. The movie came out. And other people started calling me to make films. And that was it. My whole acting journey just started from one simple mistake of going somewhere with a friend and just sitting and waiting for her. So, so that's how it all started for me. And it's been great since then.
Excellent. Wow. So I don't know what would have happened if you had really intended to go. That's something else. Had you intended to go. So after you started, so which was your first film?
I think it was called Abused. That was my very first film. I played alongside Kenneth Okonkwo. I had like 8 scenes in there. It wasn't that much because I was new. Nobody knew who I was. I wasn't, so it was 8 scenes and I was paid good money. And then the film came out and then everybody started talking about me and I would go somewhere. They were like, "I know you. I've seen your face in the movie." I'm like, "Me?" It was like a dream. I didn't think, because I had always admired all those actors that I saw on TV, Hilda Dokubo, Ameze Mariagbe, Liz Benson, RMD, and the rest of them, and I was like, maybe I'm not cut out for this, but I would really love to be like these people someday. I didn't realize that it would be my turn, that I would join them, at that point. And then I started meeting all of them on set and working with them, and I was wowed, like, look at my life. Yeah.
So if that is the case, from that time to 26, did you marry before you started the filming? Were you married before you actually became an actress?
No. I met my late husband when I was 19, and then we eventually got married when I was 21. And when I was 21, I had my first child. So I had done like 3 movies before I met my hubby. I was a teenager when I started acting. It was crazy.
Okay.
People thought I was much older because they were pairing me with RMD and Ramsey and the rest of them.
Yes,
So
yes.
their age mates. I wasn't. I was a teenager who had to play up to be a wife, to be a girlfriend. When I was a little girl. But yeah, I got married legally when I was 21, and I had my daughter that same year. And
wow.
Yeah, she's actually 21 now.
Wow.
Yes, my first girl is 21 now, yeah. So yeah.
And then not long after, your husband died.
Yeah, he died when I was 26. By then, I gave birth to my second daughter when I was 24. So I had two girls, and then he passed away when I was 26 years old. So I was a single mom. I was a widow, taking care of the two girls on my own. My family were of great support and all of that, but it was tough because dealing with widowhood as a household name, as a face that people know, the media comes in different forms, different shapes and forms. So yeah, the whole world is watching you as you're trying to deal with something. You're trying to be quiet, you're trying to mourn, the pain is there, the financial situation is there, but then all eyes on you, So it was a trying time in my life, honestly. It was.
So is that when you did Widows? Because I saw, after we heard your husband had died, then Widows came up. So I wasn't sure. Did you write it, produce it? How did that happen?
I actually shot 95% of Widow before my husband passed. My husband was hale and hearty. He was fine when I shot that film. It's a true life story, but not my story. In fact, the woman whose story it is, she lives in the UK. So a producer called me and said, oh, there's this story we want to do. It's very emotional. It's very intense. And we feel that you're the one that can carry it. And for some reason, you look like the lady in question. You really look like her. And when we told her that we would talk to you about it, she was like, yes, I like Stella. I want her to play me. And so we went on location and I did the movie. And then before the movie was properly released, my husband passed. So when he passed, I just told the producer, can we add like a few scenes and make it more realistic, make it more personal, because I had to add like 3 or 4 scenes that were personal to me in the film. But it wasn't my story. I just added a few things, a few lines here and there for people to really feel the brunt of widowhood practices in Africa and what young widows go through. Because it's one thing to be in your 50s or in your 60s or your 40s to be a widow. It's another thing to be a little girl, who's just starting life and be a widow in Africa is worse, So the movie finally came out and everybody thought it was my story, but it wasn't, because it was properly written for someone else's life, not mine. So after that period, there was a lady that reached out to me. She just reached out to me and said she's a widow as well, that there's some things going on. She wanted to set up an association and she needed my help. So she came to me and I did the blueprint for her because I already had another foundation that I was running. So I had an experience in helping to set up stuff like that. So I sat with her. We spoke to a lot of widows that were so young. It broke my heart to see and hear what these women were going through. And there was a need for them to find, a sense of belonging, to be in a community where they know that they're not alone, a community where there are people who can advise you. How can you start life again? How do you set up your financial stability? How do you set up businesses? How do you move on with your children and stuff like that? So I helped them set it up. It was launched and there was an account set up for them in the bank where people can donate and then they can give them to start their businesses and all of that. So it's been running and it was running until I left Nigeria. Yeah.
Also, have you kind of stopped dealing with it, or you deal with it whilst you are in America? You still have connections with the people there?
No, I had to hand over to the lady because it wasn't my idea. It wasn't my association. It belonged to the lady who reached out to me. All I did was help them structure it, set it up for them, tell them how it will work, introduce them to the banks, the people that can help them, introduce them to medical practitioners for healthcare and all of that, and did all the background work for them. And then I handed over to the lady. But they're still functional. They're still doing well. I still see what they're doing and all that. But it belongs to the lady whose idea it was. Yeah.
Oh. Well, but you have another course, though. Do you want to talk about a little bit about your wonderful husband before we move on? Do you want to do a tribute towards him? Do you want to say something nice? Because I read something that you'd written about him years ago. I think, was it years ago? Yeah, you'd written about how he was very encouraging about your business and all of that.
Yeah. For me, Jay was too good to be true. I call him an angel, He was the kind of person that you could lean on, that you would know that whatever it is that you want to do, there's somebody that has your back, no matter what it is. And he will always tell you, go for it. There was a time I wanted to give up on the industry. I didn't want to act anymore. I wanted to do other things and all that. And he kept saying, why? I said, because I don't like the fact that it exposes me to too much. There's too much media talk here and there. Let me just be quiet. Let me do business. And he's like, no, this is what you were called to do. It doesn't matter what they're saying. Do what your heart tells you to do. Do what you're called to do. You know, that's the kind of man he was. A very supportive, encouraging friend, you know. And as a husband, you know, when you have a man that you don't have to worry about anything. I didn't realize how spoiled I was until he passed away, because I didn't realize I didn't know anything about fixing my car, calling mechanic, or fixing anything in the house, or anything financial, anything bills. I was like, he did everything. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, is this person a human being? You know, so I mean, he was the best thing that happened to me, and he gave me 2 amazing children, and he will always be in my heart, because when I met him and I saw the kind of man he was, I started praying. I said, God, give my daughters a man like this. If they can have a man like this, I'm fine. I'm easy. I'm good. I've done my job. You know. So that's the kind of man that he was. He was a people's man. It was when we were burying him, that was when I knew the huge impact he had in people's lives. So people kept coming to me like, did you know that your husband was seeing my children through school? Did you know that your husband helped me set up a business? Did you know? I didn't know half of these people, and they were like, oh, Jay helped me do this. Oh, Jay is the one that did this for me. I'm like, wow, you know, man of the people. So it was hard for me to lose him, but I thank God everyone got to experience him at all. Yeah.
So after that, have you managed to recover from the loss of such a part? Because it seemed like it was a good partnership, and he was much loved. You were young. How do you recover from that to move on to where you are now? How did you climb out of it?
The truth is, you never do. You never climb out of it. You just, as the days go by, it becomes easier to deal with it. But you don't forget, it doesn't stop hurting. You don't heal completely. There's no human, if you ever love somebody like Jay, you know that you can never heal completely. You try. I mean, I tried to marry again and again, but you just know that there's something that's missing. And I can't project him on other people. I can't expect other people to be him. So it gets more difficult, even as I grow older, you know, looking around me and saying, I can't find another person like him. So it's either I settle or I say, you know what, just live, because it will be hard as a human being. And I'm being honest with you. I've never said this before, but it's hard because when you try to remarry as a widow, people don't understand how difficult it is not to want to project your expectations on another person.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard. So it's a matter of taking each day as it comes. I've had to deal with counseling. I've had mentors, I've had coaches who've helped me through, who are still helping me through, because it's a lifelong challenge that you have to deal with. As you remember that, you know, you have to move on. You have children, you have a life to live, you know, you just have to get up and move on every day. Yeah.
Wow. So how do you deal with scandals and negative things that are written about you in the paper, especially now that your daughters are growing up and they can see, they know, and, you know, every step of the way when a person becomes famous, they talk about them. Some people don't even know you, but they will say nasty things about you. They don't know your circumstance, and yet they want to be, you know.
It used to hurt before, and it was even more difficult before because my children were at a delicate age where they could read very fast. And then in Nigeria, before we went all digital, it was in magazines and newspapers. So they will hawk it, and you're driving and they can read the headlines and see my face. And I'll have to, you know, when we get home, we'll have to sit down and have the conversation. They know me. I'm their mom. They know who I am and how I am. And sometimes they see these things and they go, why are they saying all these things? They don't even know you. They were not even here on this day. Oh, they did, you know. But now it's easier because my daughters are 21 and 18 now. They're my best friends now. We see these things now and we laugh over it because now they're beginning to understand the meaning of media and being a household name and what comes with it, and it's one of the reasons why they didn't want to be on social. In fact, people saw my children's face for the first time last year on my birthday when I released the first edition of my magazine, which we'll talk about later. They were on the front cover with me. That was the first time people saw their faces, and they were 20 and 17 at the time. So it took me a long time to bring myself to say, okay, God, I had to ask them because they were not ready. They were not ready to be exposed. They were not ready. They wanted to live normal lives until they were done with high school and ready to go to university. My first daughter was like, okay, I'm ready to get into the job market now. I'm working now, so it's okay for my face to be out there. But before then, I couldn't expose them because of things like this, all this media talk. Now I read things about myself and I just laugh because I'm like, people always talk about you because there's something about you that they want to talk about. If I wasn't relevant, if I wasn't important, they wouldn't say anything about me. A lot of people pay for publicity, but I don't have to pay for anything. All I have to do is say something and people are talking, Even when I don't work for 4 or 5 years, my name is still out there. I used to see it as a negative thing, but when I came to America and I started learning and understanding the entertainment industry, that a lot of managements will actually pay for people to write negative things about their artists just because they know that bad news sells faster than good news. Because when I win an award or I release a magazine or I do this, people are not really interested in all these good things happening to you. But when they say, oh, Stella was seen with a guy, everybody wants to talk about Stella. They're Googling you and everything. So I had to learn to use that to my advantage. So when the attention started coming, oh, Stella got married again. Oh, Stella's marriage is in trouble. Oh, Stella did this. Oh, Stella said that. Oh, with all of that, I started using that and my numbers were increasing, the views were increasing. I started using that and turning it into business. I would send it to different brands and I would say, hey, I'm getting all of this attention. Imagine if I'm wearing your brand or if you pay me to talk about your brand, everybody wants to see what I'm doing. So take advantage of it. And truly, people started paying me for it because I'm like, if people are going to use my name to earn YouTube views and YouTube will pay them, I might as well do the same thing and make money for myself as well. So now people say whatever they want and I don't respond. I don't even say anything to that. I'm actually silent and I'm letting it brew because I have to use it. That's one of the things I learned here in entertainment management. So it doesn't bother me anymore because I've said God knows me. My children know me. My family, they know me. I know me. That's all that's important. Any other person that wants to see me in a bad light without knowing me personally, you read and you just believe it, then you were not meant to be in my corner. So I just let it go.
Yeah. In life, I strongly believe that if your star is shining, whatever people do, it will shine.
Yeah.
Your star was shining in my village. Would you believe it? So, look, don't mind them. Don't listen to them. This is the life, and we're living it now.
Yeah.
So, and I guess, as I said, when I asked you about how did you deal with your husband's passing and all of that, it has strengthened you in a way, though, hasn't it? Because you have learned how to get your children. And, I think there is always a plan. There is always a plan. God has a plan. How do you see that?
I totally believe it. I mean, nothing happens without God's knowledge, or nothing happens by accident. He knew what would happen. He allowed it for a reason. With the passing of my late husband, I also got to find me, who I truly was, what I was capable of. The things that I didn't know how to do before, I learned. The things that I never thought I could do, I had to start doing it on my own. And it just gave me another outlook on life, how fragile life can be. And it made me appreciate life and people more. Because before, I used to take life so seriously. Like everything was just very serious. But now I say, nobody knows tomorrow. Love. Be happy, do your work, enjoy your life, just live your best life and just love God because nobody knows what will happen. So for me, it gave me strength. I saw life in a different way. I saw God in a different way because through the most difficult times of my life, even when there was nobody there to comfort me at night, when I would break down and say, God, what do I do next? What do I do with my life? What do I do with my children? What next? People wouldn't know because you can't share everything with a human being. But God was the one that was there. carry me through it all. And the fact that I'm standing here today is not because Stella is the smartest or Stella is the strongest. No, it's because God has plans for my life. And that's what I always say to everyone, no matter what you're going through, the fact that you wake up every morning, it means that there's still something God wants you to do that you haven't done. So there is hope in moving forward in your life. So just get up and move. Every day, get up and move and just be grateful for life. That's it.
One thing, I don't see you in movies anymore. After a while, I saw you giving advice to people, sharing, you became like an advice guru. You talked about friendships, relationships, and all of that. Have you stopped acting or?
No, I haven't stopped. There was actually a movie that we did. It's actually out on YouTube. It's called Between. It's a very good movie. I've also done other movies that haven't come out yet. There's a movie I also did. It came out a few months ago on Iroko TV, the app, called Zikora. There are 2 movies that I've done as well, called Gone, and another one called Excuse My African. They're going to come out soon. And then recently I shot 2 movies, one in Florida, one in Houston. So this year you're going to be seeing some of my movies come out, one by one and all that. So I haven't stopped acting, but I had to realize that sometimes when you get to a stage in your life, you have to diversify and have multiple sources of income, especially when you live abroad. You don't live in Nigeria, your home country, where things are done like this for you. You live in a place where you have to constantly work, so I don't do a 9 to 5, I work for myself. So I had to set up businesses in America. I had to do other things. And when you set up businesses, you don't just fold your hands because the business will not sell itself. So I needed time off to work. I needed time off for my daughters also to stabilize, because they were at a very peculiar age at a point when I stopped filming for a while, because I needed to be hands-on. I needed to be with them, know what they wanted to study in the university, know what kind of work they wanted to do, guide them through it. And I just had to be there for them whilst working on my businesses as well. So I did a course on relationship coaching, and I got certified. And so I just decided to start sharing my thoughts with people. I created the show Ask Stella, where every Saturday I'll read out emails, because people started sending me emails on what I thought they should do about their relationships and stuff like that. And I will just share my own opinion. And then I have this friend, we've been through a lot together. She's been my friend for almost 20-something years now. And so people ask us questions and we just talk about it as friends as well. So basically I do all of that. I'm teaching acting now. I have a platform called An Actors Playhouse. I teach acting to people who are new to the game and all of that. So there are different things that I try to do to generate income, to grow a business, but most importantly, to leave a legacy for my children, because that's more important to me than anything else. It's not the fame, it's not to be a celebrity, it's to leave a legacy for my daughters, because I don't want them to finish with school and then start looking for how to apply for a job to say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, I'm setting up these businesses so that they can take over. They have a company that's already stable that they can take over and start running, so that life is easier for them. They will grow it, and their own children too will take over by God's grace, So I'm trying to build a legacy here, and acting alone is not going to do that for me right now. So I have to take time off from time to time to do other things as well. Yeah.
So now, one of the things that you have been very vocal on is child marriages.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me? I saw you having an argument with a senator. Was it a governor or a senator?
It was a senator.
Yeah. You want to tell us, not necessarily about the fight, but just why you got involved in this?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in Nigeria, so many years ago, there was this auntie of mine that was talking about, oh, Stella, have you been caught? I said, what caught? She was talking to me about FGM and every female genital mutilation, and that I have to be that. There's this friend of hers, her daughter got caught before she got married. I'm like, how did they married off that little girl? She was barely 12 or 13. She said yes. And that was the first time I was privy to the fact that that was happening. A lot of people are so ignorant. I didn't know it was happening until I heard from my auntie that, yes, there's a little girl that they married off at 13 and that she's expected to get pregnant and have children before she's 15. I'm like, that's not possible. And I got so angry. And then as I grew older, I noticed that it was a norm. It was something that was okay, because each time I mentioned it to some people, they'll be like, yeah, that's what happens. I'm like, how is this okay? How we just, that's what happens. How do we do that? These are little girls. And I started looking for a way to talk about it, to tell people, to make the noise that this can't be happening. And then in the course of my research, I found out that it wasn't just in Nigeria, it was all over Africa, it was in India, it's happening right now in America. So it's everywhere. People don't believe that it happens in America, but it does. There's a platform that I just started helping, Students Against Child Marriage. They are right here in America, and they are white kids that are fighting against child marriage. So it's everywhere in the world, but the world doesn't seem to take it as important as any other, cause or any other thing that's happening. And I'm like, it's not good. We can't be condoning this crap, So when we moved to America, Al Jazeera English, at the Al Jazeera channel, they reached out to me and they said they had seen some of my work, some of my outreach work, my advocacy and all of that, and asked me if I would be ready to go toe-to-toe with the senator and everything, because I had written about that senator in one of my blogs and they saw it. And I said, yes, I would really love to, go on that platform and really tell him how I feel about it, because the senator had just married a 13-year-old girl. After he had married a 14-year-old before that gave birth to children for him. That one now is old Leah. He's now married another little girl. And I was pissed off. And he was claiming that it was based on his religion. I'm like, no, your religion can allow you to marry 4, 5, 10, I don't care, but not children. It's not gonna happen, So I had to keep fighting, and I'm still fighting because it's still happening. I'm still fighting against child marriage because of what it does to these girls, not just because they are young, but what it does to their bodies. The VVF disease that they catch, the fact that their pelvic muscles are torn, everything. And some of them, I've seen them in hospital. Some of them have to carry bags of pee for the rest of their lives because they can't use the bathroom naturally. It's crazy, So the fight is a big one, and I'm encouraging everyone to join in it because it has to stop. I can't even imagine anyone touching any of my daughters right now, let alone 13-year-old girls. It's a lot. It gives me sleepless nights sometimes, but we keep pushing.
Well done for speaking up, because these are things that happen to people. As you said, I can't imagine it happening to even nieces and nephews. Yeah. However, it happens in people's homes. Yeah. And you don't understand why. Are you not going to educate your girl child instead of doing this to them and ruining their lives? Yeah. Why? My issue is not even the whole thing of girl child marriage. It is, why do you allow girls to come into the world to suffer?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Once you're born again, everything is it's crazy. Yeah. Once you're a girl, first things first, you are not qualified to be educated. Your brother will be educated instead, because you have to be married off. When your father owes money, he will sell you off as part of his debt, Then you get married, you have to have children. You must have boys, as if you're the one that controls what you have. If you have girls, you are an outcast. If you can't even have children on time, you are a problem. Then you grow old, and then maybe something happens, and then you lose your husband. Then you become a widow. Then they now pour everything on you. You killed your husband. You have to drink the bath water from his corpse. You have to swear. You have to go in the village square. They have to shave your head. You have to wear black. It's always the woman going through the brunt of everything. There's a divorce, it's the woman that will suffer for it. She's the one that will lose all the money. She loses everything. It's just crazy. It's just too much. And then they cut off part of your body and tell you that is to curb promiscuity. Then they cut off the most important part of your body as a woman so that you don't enjoy intimacy with your partner. And I'm like, why? Why does it have to be that way?
Yes.
It's hard. Yeah.
It is really hard for women.
Yeah.
Now, apart from that, I also saw you talk about rape in the industry.
Yeah.
That too, you were having a big fight with somebody about it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I mean, rape culture in Africa is something that we're not talking about enough. It's not just in my industry, it's in every industry. I've seen, and this is not hearsay, I have people that I know who've been through these things. I mean, 1 in 3 women in Nigeria has been raped or has been sexually molested. 1 in 3. And we did the research. I actually gave a speech at the World Bank in 2014, and we talked about it. The people that do all this research, they actually showed that 1 in 3 women have either been raped or sexually molested, and nothing was done about it. The perpetrators were not caught, they were not brought to book, because you notice that sometimes it's even the law enforcement people that are raping these women, that are sexually molesting these people. You can't report to anyone. You take your case to the police and they'll tell you, oh, that's a domestic matter now. Maybe he forced you, but didn't you enjoy it? It's crazy. Or they ask you, what were you wearing? And why did you go there? What were you wearing? And I'm like, so you ask a 9-year-old that has just been raped by her teacher what she was wearing. What part of her body is developed for the man to look at her and say, because of what she's wearing, I was tempted? Like, why are we not going up in arms about it? If we're going to fight about health, we're going to fight about salary, we're going to fight about, oh, no electricity, why are we not fighting about this? Why are we not going out in the streets and fighting to protect ourselves? It's crazy. For some young girls in my industry, they have complained to me time and time again, oh, I want to act. I know that I have the talent, but I don't get jobs because the male producers want to sleep with me. And if I don't, they give it to somebody else. If I'm in the hotel on location, they come into my room and they want to force me. I can't even report to anyone, because if I mention it to anyone, the other male producers will not give me work. I thought it was just that. But now I'm hearing that even the opposite sex now, they're doing the same thing. So rape culture has just been, I'm telling you, rape culture has just been accepted as, oh, it's a normal thing now. I'm like, we cannot see this as a normal thing. If we see that having no light for a month is not normal, how can you see rape as normal? It's not possible. So I've been fighting on all corners. Sometimes my sisters will call me and tell me, you're going to go crazy, you're going to lose your mind, because it's either this or this. I said, it doesn't end, but somebody has to do it.
No, I love you. I think that you're doing, because somebody has to do it. Yeah. Somebody has to do it. And I wonder, mothers who have daughters, are you not, when will it change? When will you become crazy enough to do something? We really have to do something for our girl children. We have to push them forward. We have to make them live. We make laugh, enjoy life. Enjoy life. A 28-year-old woman having a baby is a huge thing. So for a child, it's crazy. It is crazy.
It's painful.
Anyway, may God continue to give you strength. This is what I say regarding these two topics, and then also about the widowhood. But then you have another project as well, which is something that I like, because I pray for you daily. Because one day, I want women to be as strong. And ladies, if you're out there, listen to this woman, because notwithstanding, regardless, in spite of, she's still moving. She is still moving. Of course, I had a chat with her before, and there are moments when she cries. There are moments when but people, when you are crying, have a plan.
Yeah.
Have a plan.
Yeah.
The latest thing that Stella is doing now is her new magazine. Now, before we talk about the magazine and I want you to know that I have learned a technique, and I'm going to show you my new technique. Yes. Yes. Stella has a magazine called Adiva. It is so beautiful. Did you see it? Yes. Let us try and buy it. Let us patronize it. And let us make it into our African Vogue. Okay, people, ladies out there, stop buying the white people's thing. You open a magazine and it's all white people. Are you going to wear them? And it's skinny white people. How many skinny black people do you see? We need to put ourselves in a magazine to identify beauty as a black person. Yes. My people, shine your eye. Talk to me about your magazine.
Okay, so I was thinking of something that I could do for women that women like me can identify with. And when I say women like me, Black women, women like you said, who are not size 2, who are not glamorous everyday women, something that they can have in their hands, read it and feel like there's a sense of belonging. Read it and feel like, okay, this can help me. I can identify with this. I wanted a magazine that would celebrate every type of culture, body shape, business, no matter who you are. What can we do to make women really, really feel that they are good enough, they're enough? So I have the name Adiva, and Adiva is a diva. I am trying to say that every woman is a diva. You don't have to be a celebrity first before you are a diva. You have to enjoy yourself. You have to be proud of yourself. So I created it, and I got all my columnists are women, everyday women. I didn't go and look for women that worked in newspaper houses, or I looked for everyday women, mothers, sisters, friends, people running small businesses, pastors' wives, people who can write things and you can identify with. Because it's not just a glamorous magazine. My magazine is a social justice and lifestyle magazine, because I needed an extra platform to help amplify the things that I've been fighting against, So I approached a lot of them and I said, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is our thing. It's for women, by women, it's Black owned. Let us project ourselves. Let's give ourselves the voice that we are not able to get. We don't have to pay for our voices to be heard. Let us have our own magazine that we can use to celebrate who we are as women and what we can do. So there's so many things in there. We talk about money, we talk about relationships, we talk about motherhood, we talk about fitness, health, spirituality, anything you can think of that affects the life of a woman. We talk about it. So I'm blessed because my columnists are the best in the world. I'm telling you, they're amazing women. So yeah.
Excellent. We've got a columnist, one of your columnists here.
Yeah.
And let me unmute her so that she can tell us a little bit about her work with you. Go on then, Charlene. Tell us about your work with Stella. Charlene? Charlene is
frozen.
Yeah, Charlene is having some few problems, so she can't hear us. Are you back, Charlene? No, she's not back. Okay, let's talk about it though. Okay. So how do you come up, you came about it, you've got normal people, you've got mothers, people from all different walks of life, which is excellent.
Yes.
Where is it? I've never seen one.
It's a digital magazine, but some people who like physical copies, it's print on demand. You can actually order it and it'll be sent to you. I don't have it in shelves or in stores yet, because the way the world is going is technology. Everybody just wants to have something on the go, and some people don't want to carry stuff. They don't want it to be bulky. They want to be in a train, in a car, in a bus, on the plane, and they just want to be able to look at something and entertain themselves, and all that. And it's very rich. So you can be there the whole day reading and seeing pictures and, gaining knowledge and being inspired and everything. So I wanted it to be easy. I didn't want to carry inventory, but people like Charlene are encouraging me to say, you know what, there are some people who are old school like us. We want to see it and buy it and hold it in our hands and all that. So we're looking into, going into physical copies for people to see. But right now it's available on print on demand for people who want physical copies. But I'm very proud of this work. In fact, this month, the edition we're releasing this month will be for our first year anniversary. It's our 5th edition and we're celebrating 1 year. So
wow, well done. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah.
So, have you got things which, like topical issues? Do you talk about female genital mutilation and all? Is it all in there?
Yes. It's a social justice and lifestyle magazine. So you see more of the issues that women face, what people have done about it, what you can do about it, every aspect of the causes that concern women, because it's a strictly female magazine. All we talk about are female issues, so that's where I have the opportunity to speak my heart and tell people how I feel about things, and also get feedback from other people as well. A lot of people have come back with feedback to say, oh, they learned a lot from it. Oh, I didn't know about this before. Some women didn't know something about borderline issues that their children had. Some people think that if your child doesn't have ADHD, then there's something else. Maybe it's a character problem, but they don't know that there's a borderline thing that might make your child not really assimilate like other children, or your child is not ADHD, your child is not autistic, but there's just a thin line. There's so many children that fall into that category. I talk about it because a lot of people are ignorant of it. They don't know that their kids are going through something that can be fixed. So they just think my child is a dull child, he's stupid, he doesn't know, he doesn't want to learn, he doesn't like learning, his brain is lazy, and then they start beating the child. But that child has a condition that can be fixed. Things like that. We talk about it. We have like Charlene's column called Mom Me. We talk about the issues with motherhood, from pregnancy to after pregnancy, to women who have difficulties having children and how to deal with that. We have parenting as well, how people deal with parenting. We've talked about how to be a mother in this COVID season is one of the most difficult times we've faced. We talk about money, how people can save money, how you can make money, tax seasons and stuff like that. So many things. We talk about women who are making an impact in the society. So many things in one magazine is crazy. We also have fashion, glamour, we have beauty, tips, home and living. We also have the law so that women start to know their rights. We talked about marital rape, which a lot of people are still fighting about, so so many things in there, yeah.
Well done. Well done. I mean, we could go on chatting for a long time. But one of the things about this program is it goes on television and all of that, so we can't go over time.
Yeah.
And we kind of reached our chat point.
Yes.
But I need you to know that with God, everything is possible, and with determination, is where you see God. And where you see God is when you are so determined, with a clear mind, you will know that God is there. He's behind you, he's beside you, he is in front of you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on this show. You have, I don't know how to express how you have even illuminated me, because all of the things that you've gone through, I see you. You are so beautiful.
Thank you.
It is the things that you have said, the work that you do. Oh my God. I think you have to come on again. People want to see you again. Well done.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. People, thank you all for watching. This has been a wonderful show, if I should say so myself. Yes. God bless you all.
Amen.
Thank you very much. You can stay on, and I shall just turn the thing off from end the broadcast.
Okay.